It is Monday, which means it is Crisis Club Monday on the Amateur Hour Sports Podcast, the weekly segment every Monday where we talk about the team in biggest crisis in world sport for that week. And to be honest, this week it was very tough to come up with a team. I was thinking about some teams in the NBA. I was maybe looking at the Memphis Grizzlies. In the NHL, not a lot I can cover at the moment. Maybe the Florida Panthers, but in light of Thursday's miraculous Europa League events, we'll say, I'm going to be talking about Arsenal today. And like I said, I had to be a bit picky to find a team for this week, so not going to discredit Arsenal too much, but I am going to, probably a little fun with them at their own expense because anybody who knows me or anybody who knows the show knows that I am a Manchester United fan. So trying to take this one too seriously, but Arsenal, over the course of last week, decent 3-2 victory against Everton. They struggled in pieces in that game, but ultimately came out with the victory thanks to 2 goals from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who was hailed as one of the best strikers, if not, I saw a lot of Arsenal fans saying that he is the best striker in the world. And, that's some foreshadowing to what we're going to talk about right now. Arsenal then went on to go into their second leg against Olympiacos. They're up 1-0 with the away goal, going back to the Emirates with that lead. Arsenal, well, that game didn't go according to the script. Olympiacos played very well. I did watch the game. Olympiacos came to play. They had a very good game. All over Arsenal in the second half. Arsenal had their chances too, but Olympiacos playing very well. I think they deserved that goal despite it being lucky. The Papa Cisse header, didn't know anything about it, just literally fucking hit him on the head and went in the net. But I think they deserve the goal. Gets to extra time, it's back and forth. It was a tremendous game to watch, truthfully. That was a great game. Olympiacos knew they weren't up to the talent level of Arsenal, and they countered, they went with pace, and they got their chances. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scored one of the better goals of the tournament with that bicycle kick. And then 119th minute, Yusuf El Arabi just sneaks it in the corner. We're all thinking it's done, no chance for Arsenal. But then, more drama. Some ricochets in the box, and inadvertently, Aubameyang, who is well behind the last man, but since it struck an Olympiacos player on its way, is not offside. And, a lot of anti-Arsenal people like myself, their hearts sunk because they thought Arsenal were going to sneak out by the skin of their teeth and get to the next round. They got to the final of the Europa League last year. But the best striker in the world puts it wide from 3 yards out. And that is one he will never miss again. I don't think he's ever going to miss that opportunity again. I was absolutely flabbergasted, and I was shocked when that miss happened. I could not believe that Aubameyang had missed that opportunity. It didn't make sense. It was unfathomable. He is one of the best strikers in the world. He is not the best striker in the world, however. He is one of the best strikers in the world. Could not believe that he missed that. And Arsenal eliminated at the Emirates at the hands of Olympiacos. That, I believe, is call for Crisis Club of the Week, because 10th place in the Premier League, I get that they have a game in hand. They are, at the moment, 1 point behind Burnley, 3 points behind Sheffield. By the way, can I just say that again? They are 1 point behind Burnley, and they are, they're 3 behind Sheffield, but we know how good Sheffield have been this season. But 1 point behind Burnley. How about Burnley? How well have they been playing? Sean Dyche, one of the best managers in the Premier League. Arsenal are also 3 points behind Tottenham, 5 points behind Wolves and Manchester United. However, like I said, they have a game in hand on all of those teams except for Sheffield, who also have a game in hand and could move into 5th with a victory. Sheffield, their game in hand is against Aston Villa, whereas Arsenal's game in hand is against Manchester City. So make what you will of that game in hand. If I am a betting man, Arsenal do not pick up any points away at Manchester City. But obviously, they could make up those points. At the moment, Arsenal 1 point ahead of, equal on points with Everton, 1 point ahead of Crystal Palace. not been their year. And, you could blame a lot of it on Unai Emery, for sure. For sure, you could blame a lot of it on Unai Emery. But, I mean, how good has it really been under Mikel Arteta? Has it been that much better? Like really consider the results they're putting up. They've drawn a lot of games. Like they drew against Crystal Palace. They drew against Sheffield, but like I said, Sheffield are playing so well this season. They drew against Burnley. They've had a couple, they had that impressive win against Newcastle, but maybe it's kind of turning fold for Arteta, but hasn't been overly impressive. What Mikel Arteta has been doing. And I thought, I was a big advocate for him getting hired. I thought he was going to do some great stuff there. Maybe they're passing the ball really well, but the results aren't really happening yet. And I'm not saying that they won't ever happen, but at the moment, it's not quite clicking for Arteta, and that Europa League loss doesn't really help the cause. They did win their game against Portsmouth in the FA Cup. I mean, as you'd bloody expect him to do so, but he hasn't really been, Mikel Arteta hasn't really been the savior of the season that they needed. And it's going to have to turn around if they want to get into a European spot. I don't think they will. They may have looked at the Europa League as one of their avenues to get into the Champions League, or probably the only avenue, but that's not going to happen anymore. So, yeah, they're in this position. They don't have a very tough schedule to come in the run-in. They've got, They've got their games they can win. They've got some tough games, but it's Arsenal. They can get their points with the talent they have on the team. But the reason I don't think they're really in the mix, I mean, I've looked at a lot of statistics, and they're just average in every statistical category, whether it's goals for, whether it's goals against, whether it's chances created, chances missed, dispossessed, possession stats are a little bit higher, but in every statistical category, they're just right in the middle. They're just mid-table in all those categories. They're mid-table in the league as a result. There's nothing that they do that is overly impressive. There's not the one thing they can rely on, other than Aubameyang, usually. There's not the one aspect of their game that they can just rely on to get them their results. There isn't something they can lean on. So Man United may go for the counter-attacking option. Use their pace. Man City are going to pass you to death. But Arsenal don't have that one thing they're going to stick to and grind out their results with. Because, when you're not playing well, you need to have that one designated fallback. Go do that, you're going to get your goals. But Arsenal don't have that. They're just mid-table in every regard, and as a result, they are 10th place, mid-table. So I don't see them getting into a European position, but they are able to do so. Obviously, they are very talented. They're in the mix as well. They're not off the pace by any means, but doesn't look likely from this point that they will be in any of those European positions. So work needs to be done, and the youngsters are coming up, and that is a big thing. Arsenal are looking like a team for the future, but with the plethora of youth talent, whether it's Saka, whether it's Martinelli, whether it's Nketiah, just to name a few. So, it's looking up in the future. But, with the talented guys like Lacazette, they're not able to get the best out of a guy like him. Those kind of things are problematic for their team. And I thought Arteta would be better at sorting it out, but just so far it hasn't been the case. And that's why they're in a bit of a crisis at the moment. They're really figuring out their identity, especially being mid-table in all those statistical categories. They got to figure out the identity of the team, how they're going to get their goals, especially if Aubameyang isn't the one who's going to be scoring. You need some more options. And right now, there's really no designated second scorer. It's Aubameyang, or it seems like it may not be anybody. But Nketiah's been playing well. Saka's been playing very well. So using the young core for the future, that is going to help them. But just at the moment, in their current state, eliminated from the Europa League, mid-table in the Premier League, Arsenal will be labeled as the crisis club of the week, one of the more harsh ones. But I mean, that's a tough loss in the Europa League. That's a bad loss. That shouldn't happen, especially the Emirates. Arsenal, yeah, that's the Crisis Club of the week. Thank you for listening to the Amateur Hour Sports Podcast, where we post every single day. You can let me know your opinions on the matter at hand, which is Arsenal, whether it be on social media or in the content YouTube video. All the links will be in the description for those. You can also stay up to date with the daily episodes by subscribing, following on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. The links are in the description again for any of those. And we will see you again tomorrow for another episode.